Hello, welcome to our Mother and Daughter channel. We're going to do a yoga practice for balance and harmony. So let's firstly start on the mat. So finding a comfortable lying down position, so your knees may be bent. You can have your feet to the edge of the mat and the knees can knock in constructive rest, or you can have your legs extended. So firstly, just take a few moments to settle into your practice, sensing the ground underneath you and seeing if you can relax the body as much as possible. Bringing your hands onto your belly area and just start to notice how you're breathing. Gently noticing the inhale and the exhale. And bringing attention to any sensations in the body, how you're feeling, without judging yourself, just noticing. And just feeling where you may need a bit more harmony or balance in your life. Bringing that awareness to our yoga practice. Maybe breathing in a bit deeper into the belly area, breathing in. And then breathing out nice and steadily. Good, and now we're going to have our feet hip width apart and just gently hug one knee in and the other. So inhaling and exhaling to bring the knee in, just feeling a nice stretch. Depending on your flexibility, you may want to extend the other leg out, or slowly inch the other leg out. Just see how that feels on your body. Or continue to bring one leg in gently at a time. Excellent. And now placing your feet at the edge of the mat, we're gently going to windshield wiper the legs, so nice and gently to start with. Inhaling center, exhaling to one side. So seeing if you can synchronize the breath with the movement, bringing some harmony into our body. Inhaling as the legs come up, exhaling as they come down. Excellent. Back to center and just hug both knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice gentle massage. So you can circle the knees together or outwards, whatever feels nice for your body. And now coming up to a seated position. So you can have your legs crossed. You can sit up on a cushion or a block like this. If it's uncomfortable to be in a cross-legged position, you could always have your legs extended or sitting on your knees or a chair. Okay, so finding length in the spine, grounding the hips, getting that connection with the earth. Nice tall spine, so lifting up as tall as possible. Relax the shoulders, hands in prayer, and let's set an intention for the class. Thinking about balance and harmony in your life, where we could find more. And breathe in that intention. Breathe it into the body and then exhale, release any doubts or fears. Excellent. So we're going to think about balance in our spine by lifting up, getting nice and tall in the spine, and then exhaling to release. So breathing in some balance to the body and then exhaling, release. Now coming into a nice side stretch, inhaling to one side, exhaling back. You can have a bend in the elbow, inhaling and then exhale back. Now coming into some twists, so lengthen the spine by inhaling up, exhale, gentle twist, inhale back to center, inhaling up, find length, exhale, twist. Good. Let's just release any tension from the shoulders, breathing in, releasing any burdens. Breathing in, the shoulders rise, and the other way. You can half close your eyes, start to really tune into your body and how it's feeling. Excellent, and now we'll come into our tabletop position. So in tabletop, you can always place something under your knees for support. So thinking about our posture, hips stacked over the knees and shoulders over the wrists. Draw in the belly, check your neck isn't dropping. So we've got that firm foundation. So we'll gently come into some cat-cows, tipping the buttocks up, belly drops, chest rises. Then coming into our cat, drawing in the belly, we round the spine. So make this movement nice and slow. And let's synchronize with the breath. So inhaling when we come into our cow pose, exhaling, pushing through the fingers, drawing in the belly, coming into our cat. So just working through each vertebrae at a time, make the move nice and harmonious. Excellent. Now come back to center, taking one leg back, keeping the hip points down, lifting the leg to no higher than hip height, maybe bringing the other arm for our balancing table. So imagine someone has your leg and your arm. So we're creating a bit more length in the body, drawing in the belly. Excellent. Repeat on the other side. So making that leg nice and long, lifting up no higher than hip height. Maybe the other arm comes out. So feeling some toning in the back of the leg, drawing in the belly. Excellent. And then bringing that leg back down. We'll come into a child pose. So legs can be nice and wide, they can be together. The hips are sinking back. You can always place a cushion here. Hands can be under the forehead, extended or behind you. Start to breathe into the back of the body. Making sure we're really breathing into the back of the lungs as well. Breathing in and then exhaling out. Anytime you want to break, come into child pose. Good. Coming back into our tabletop, we'll just start to rock a bit forward and back, getting ready for downward dog. Can always give the wrists a rotation as well. So spreading the hands, spreading the fingers nice and wide, tucking in the toes. We'll come into a bent-legged downward dog, so the hips start to rise. And we just find some length in the spine. So you might want to bend your knees and then start to let the heels find where they want to go. You don't have to get the heels all the way down. And just sense how it feels to be upside down. You can change our perspectives, pressing through the fingers. Good. We can either come back to tabletop to come up to stand, or we can come through dog. So we can bring the hands back to the feet, keeping a bend in the knees. You can always walk the hands up the legs, start to uncurl the spine, finding our Tadasana. So we come to the top of the mat and find a good position where we can still see the camera. Excellent. So starting with balance comes from our feet. So let's get that connection with our feet, lifting up the toes and just checking we're centered. So just notice if you're rolling on the outside of your foot or the inside, just see if you can sense your center. Hands in prayer. And let's see if we can tune into our breath again with Ujjayi breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. This can help to calm down the mind, especially in our standing postures. When the legs, the body becomes a bit more heated, we can remind ourselves to still breathe steadily. Good, and let's just inhale, raising the arms up. And then exhale back down. Good, and we're going to take the right foot back into our warrior one. So just bringing the foot back, check we're in parallel tracks, we're not on a tight rope. Engaging the feet, this knee is in line with the front ankle, and we've got a lot of strength from that back leg, so we're pressing through the outer edge of the back foot. So let's have our hands just on our lower back to find some opening. Good. So from the strength of that back leg, we're lifting up. So warrior is a nice heart opening pose. Or you can raise your arms up like my mum's doing into a nice heart opening warrior. Drawing in the belly, pressing down to that outer edge of the back foot. Breathe here. Excellent. Now bring that leg back into Tadasana, hands in prayer, take a breath. And then bring the other leg back into our warrior one. So nice parallel tracks, find your footing, knee in line with the ankle, pressing down on the outer edge of that back foot. Use the strength of that back leg, and then we're going to raise our arms up so they can be in a V shape. They can be here. Find somewhere you can feel some nice opening and strength. Just gazing straight ahead, finding your drishti can help us focus, can help us feel balance. Excellent. Pressing through the feet to come back up. Let's just shake off the legs. Wiggle the hips. And now coming back to our Tadasana, we'll come into some warrior twos. So opening the legs nice and wide as comfortable, hands nice and broad, turning the foot out 90 degrees, back foot in, and just gently bending the knee, checking the knee is in line with the ankle so we're not rolling the knee in. Keep higher up in the movement if you find that knee is rolling in. Good, so strength in both of the legs. So to keep balance, we want to check we're not doing this or that. We want to keep nice and centered. So find a warrior two that you can hold for a few breaths, gazing over that middle finger, feeling the strength in the legs. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Good, and then pressing through the feet to come back up. Just give the hips a little wiggle, and then coming into the other side. So knee in line with the ankle, gauging that outer edge of the back foot again for our balance. Keeping the knee nicely stacked. Hands can be here or out. Good, gaze over that middle finger, and that's where we can remind ourselves of our intention. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Feeling nice and grounded. Good, pressing through the feet to come back up. Just give the hips a bit of a release. And now we'll come into triangle. So similar starting position to warrior two. The feet might want to be a bit nearer. One leg is turned out, the other is in. Let's just create a bit of freedom in the hips. So for triangle, it's important to keep a nice upright posture. What we want to avoid is rounding. So keeping nice and tall. So we may stay here. So the front hip is coming in as the back hip, almost like we're reaching out. So you could stay here. If you have the flexibility, you may come down lower. You could always use a block like this. Maybe the arm comes up or it stays here. Most important is to not round the back. We want balance in the body, so we can stay here or we can use a block. A few breaths here. So the gaze can be down or up. Good, now press through those feet to come back up. And then we're going to bring the foot in slightly. And we can practice a bit of balance with a floating half moon. So knee in line with the ankle, and we just lift off, practice a bit of balance. Of course, if you're more experienced in yoga, you can come into a full half moon. You could use a block and practice your balance like that. Good, and now coming back to our prayer position, breathing in and breathing out. Great. So let's do triangle on the other side. So wide stance, one foot out 90 degrees, back foot in. Just finding a bit of freedom in the hips. So this hip is going to come in as this hip comes out. We've got both sides of the waist nice and long. This shoulder is back. So always modify. So we could use a block if we're more experienced in triangle. We could raise the arm up. Just try to avoid doing this. It'd be much better to stay here. Good. Let's have a few breaths here. Drawing in the belly. Good. Now pressing through the feet to come back up. Bringing that foot a bit nearer to practice our floating moon. So knee in line with the ankle. Practicing our balance. So it takes a lot of concentration to balance, and that can really help to get the mind in the present, and that will also help us to feel calmer, especially when we think of balance as fun rather than having to be perfect. As long as you're safe, we can practice flexing the back foot. Good, and then just have a few breaths in and out. In and out. And for our last balance, we'll come into a tree pose. So depending if you want to stay very centered, you could keep your tree pose here, finding your drishti. If you want to experiment with your balance, you can lift to the calf, just avoiding the knee, or at the thigh, finding something to focus on. Maybe raising the arms up into any tree shape. Breathing in and breathing out. Well done. Shake off the legs and we'll try on the other leg, spreading the foot so you can stay here Hands in prayer, finding your drishti, your focal point for your balance. You could try here, or bringing the leg up to the thigh, pressing the foot into the thigh. So we're also working our glute muscles. Hands may want to move into a tree shape. And enjoying those wobbles, seeing if they disturb the mind or if you can just try again. Great, well done. Now we'll just come into a forward fold. So you could always do this on a chair. We could also use blocks in front of us. Or we could stay high up in the movement. So we engage our feet, we have some strength in our legs, finding that good posture again, lifting up, hinging from the hips. So we could stay here, finding length in the spine. If we're flexible enough, we could use blocks, or we could come all the way down. Again, do what's right for your body. You just want to enjoy our yoga practice and not create any unnecessary injuries. So relax here. If you're coming into a forward fold, just imagine anything is releasing from the brain into the earth. Excellent. Now press through the feet. You can heel toe the feet in slightly, bending the knees, rolling up nice and gently, inhaling and then exhaling back into your prayer position. A few breaths here. So we're going to just do a few stretches on the mat now. So you can come through dog, or you can come to the mat just by sitting down. So if we're coming via dog and forward fold, we'll inhale up, exhale, hinging from the hips, bending the knees, coming into a forward fold, and then just walking back into our downward dog, pedaling the feet, finding a bit more length in the spine. Lowering the knees and just having a nice stretch in child pose. Good. And we'll come down onto our backs just to have a few nice stretches before we relax. So let's come into a figure four stretch, crossing one leg over the other, flexing the feet, just opening that hip, breathing into the stretch. If you want more of a stretch, you can hug behind the thigh. If you're very flexible, you can hug onto the shin, but really check how that feels in your body, flexing the feet. Breathe into that stretch. See if you can start to relax the body as well. Placing the foot back down, bringing the leg up into a hamstring stretch. You could always use a strap or a belt. So just gently guiding the leg towards the body. You can have the other leg bent, or you can slightly start to inch the foot back down, grounding the leg only if that feels right in your body. Breathe into the back of the hamstring here. Breathing in equally, so breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 4. Try not to clench the face. And then switching legs, so crossing the other foot over, just under the knee, flexing the foot, open that hip, maybe catching the back of the thigh if that feels okay, or the shin, flexing the feet. Feel that stretch in the outer glute muscle. Breathe. See if you can keep the chin nicely tucked in as well. Try and relax the face. Bringing that leg back down, so floating the leg up to the ceiling for a hamstring stretch. So you can use a belt. You can bend the knee slightly. If you're feeling more flexible, you can start to inch the other leg down, seeing how that feels. Being very mindful of just finding your edge, but not straining the muscle. Noticing if you have one more flexible leg. Grounding that other leg if you do have the leg extended. Excellent. And just bringing the feet back to a bent-legged position. We'll gently just come into a bridge by pressing down through the feet, so the feet are in line with the knees. Pressing down through the feet, and just notice how the hips naturally want to come up and then slowly come back down. And just one more, pressing through the feet, peeling the hips up. You can always interlace if you are feeling stronger. Slowly let the hips come down, hugging the knees into the chest. Let's just have a few moments of relaxation. So you can keep the feet bent if you like, you can have them extended. If you want to take a final stretch. And then find a relaxing position for you to start to surrender into Shavasana. And just let that harmony and balance start to restore us. As you feel the ground underneath you, see if you can now allow all your muscles to relax. So there's that balance between being active and relaxation. So now we can encourage the relaxation part of our yoga practice by breathing in nice and deeply and then slowly exhaling. And as you inhale, think of inhaling some balance to your body, and then exhale anything you want to release into the earth. And gently scanning the body for any areas that you're holding tension. Just allow the feet to relax and allow the legs to soften and just feel nice and heavy. Allowing the hips to feel grounded. Just allow some harmonious breaths to massage the belly and the back. Effortless breathing in and out. As you soften all the muscles in the back, the arms are nice and heavy. Breathe into the chest and exhale. Allow the throat to feel nice and open. Soften the jaw. Relax your eyes. And just start to feel some space around the forehead. And any thoughts appear like clouds, they come and go. as you see that blue sky behind the clouds, where you find your balance and your harmony. Just placing your hands either on your belly or your heart, just remember to connect to your own peace that's inside you, breathing in peace, breathing in harmony, and releasing anything you want to release. Repeating, I am calm, I am relaxed. And now gently having a nice stretch, wiggling the toes or wiggling the hands. Coming over to one side in your own time, not rushing. Now finding a seated position. Regrounding yourself, reconnecting with that intention you made at the beginning of the class. As you bow to yourself for your yoga practice. Namaste, thank you.